probably 10 or so. He planned it for a while. Most people would start with a hammer and nails, but Daddy instead on using half bolts and screws instead. The tree house was going to stay together. I remember when the tree started to rot and the carpenter ants started to eat away the tree. Not to mention my brothers and I did not help the situation by blowing chunks out of the tree with firecrackers and occasional flaming hairspray as assault. Anyway, the structural integrity of the tree house held this tree together for at least a year longer than the tree would have stayed together otherwise. For the last 10 years, he lived with the effects of his stroke. He lost the effective use of his right side, and his speech was not clear. He was very intelligent. Even in the latest state of mind, I believe this shone through. I have struggled with thoughts of what the world was like inside his mind, and concluded that although he was limited in his ability to communicate with us, he was still able to process at a high level. In conversation, you could tell he preceded what he was saying, what was being said, because many times he would retrieve an item or picture from a book that would directly relate to what was being talked about, thus adding his thoughts to that. The occasion of the last 10 years, my father would tend to point out what may have seemed trivial to us. This may have been pointing out a crooked picture on the wall, or indicating what an item or desk was out of place. I had occasionally thought this was the effects of the stroke, and maybe his level of thought came and went. Recently, I have given it more thought. I don't believe this was true. His level of thought was there, but was frustrated by his lack of ability to communicate verbally. So after many attempts, I believe he decided that a simpler form of communication would be more effective, and he chose to focus on things that would successfully be able to get across to us. I don't think he gave in to this. He just believed that successfully communication something was in and of itself a rewarding experience. Through all the last 10 years, I do not remember him being sullen or withdrawn from anyone. He was always upbeat and had a big smile when greeting you. I know my kids always came away feeling this way. I'm sure he was down at some times, but we never saw it. I remember he would always say what he was thinking, whether you understood him or not. I believe he got his strength from his faith in God. Knowing him, I think his faith is what comforted him during downtimes. He also did not stop wanting to explore the world. He was very mobile on his scooter. He took many trips throughout the neighborhood. police once when he wandered too far and had no sidewalk to drive on. When my kids tried to follow him on foot, they had to run to keep up with him, or he would leave you behind. In conclusion, he inspired me in the last 10 years with his ability to put a good face on a not so good situation and not to give up when things are bad. He taught me to always put your best foot forward, even when one of your feet does not work too well.
From Clinton